come before you in the name of the Lord, who was, who is, and is to come. Amen. So I was thinking this week about these books that we had in elementary school, Choose Your Own Adventure. You ever encounter these books? They're really cool. These books, Choose Your Own Adventure series, the whole thing was that you could read the beginning, and then when you were reading it, partway through, it would be like, and then there was a door, and, do you go in or do you stay out because you don't know what's behind the door, or do you use the ladder, or do you go down the hole? So I was thinking that maybe my sermons are sometimes a little like Choose Your Own Adventure books, because, we liked them because they were books that looked like they were this thick, but you didn't ever have to do that much reading, right? And then sometimes there was actually you'd have to go back and I was too curious, so I had to see what was down the hole and not just up the ladder. Do you ever have that happen? Do you ever wonder out loud what's happening? Now, what I would say, though, is that sometimes, given our style of preaching here, it does leave us wondering what's happening. But I think that the other reality is sometimes I prepare, and what you might not realize is that how you respond actually impacts what happens next. So, if you really seem into something, I might make it last longer. Or if you seem really disinterested, I might skip over a part entirely. And then other times, it doesn't really matter what you do because the story is going to continue no matter what. And so I would suggest to you that sometimes a sermon is a little like a Choose Your Own Adventure book. So, where was I? Oh, clean and profane. Okay. Y'all are clean, and y'all are profane, okay? Now, wait. All right. I knew some people would be upset about this. So I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Whoever's on my left is clean, and whoever's on my right is profane. Is that okay with everybody? Hold on. Is that okay? Okay. Is that okay? All right. So I think part of what's unique about our scriptures is that sometimes we try to interpret them without the context, and the context always matters, right? And when we think about clean and profane, context matters too, because the intention with all this law was that not that you could declare someone else unclean, so much as you could do things, outwardly visible things, that would show that you have an intention to be in a deep and abiding relationship with God. A deep and abiding relationship so significant that you would alter your physical appearance, that you would forgo eating particular things, and that it was significant to your very way of being. But, humans got involved, and then they started to think that it was really important that the line be in a particular place. See, sometimes it moves. They had a problem with that. And they wanted to make sure that it quit moving so much. I was going to use duct tape, but I was afraid I wouldn't be able to get it up later. And even painter's tape is harder to deal with when everybody's watching than I thought. So they started to affix the line so that it wouldn't move as much, and it became not about delineating yourself for God, but making sure you knew who was on each side of the rope. Now, if I said that everybody on that side of the room was clean and this side was profane, guess where everybody's going to sit next week? And it's going to be really awkward for all the guests who think, all these pews are empty. I'll just sit over here. Until they find out it's the profane side. Now, the really great news is that God, in all the infinite wisdom and truth and glory that is God, saw that this law that had been handed down as a way of marking ourselves, delineating our lives as sacred, saw the painter's tape that the people put on it and thought, I need to do something. And so, God sends His Son. Doesn't say that the law is bad, doesn't repeal the law, doesn't revoke it, reminds us of its intention. And while He's doing it, He gets a pretty good, firm hold on that rope, recognizing that some had used it to delineate where some were clean and some were profane. And He disrupts it with His teaching, with His healing, with the way He talked to people, with the way He taught. And He made sure that He had everybody's attention. So He wanted to make sure that they understood that that's not what the rope was for. And then He gave His life to prove it. And then when people started to forget or they were unsure because He wasn't there standing right in front of them, He was resurrected and reminded them some more. And even as Peter sent out to do the work that Jesus started, still, there was still some tape, some exclusion going on. And so, God gave Peter a trance and a vision, made sure that he had witnesses. Both Egyptian and Roman law said if 6 people bore witness with you, that it was law, not just someone's opinion. Remember those 6 brothers standing with Peter? They're significant. So once Peter had that trance, something significant happens in the book of Acts. Might not know this, but both in chapter 10 and 11, the same story is told of this grand vision that Peter holds in this trance with a sheet being lowered from heaven, and they're reminded what God has made clean. You can't make profane. I didn't count on the doors opening that direction. Should have practiced this twice. It was going to be really awesome. The doors of heaven were opened. And a new heaven and a new earth was cast. A vision of God not separating people as clean and profane, but a vision where everybody is inside of the rope, on the same side of the rope. And I think as we read from Acts, as we read from Revelation, and most assuredly as we read in the gospel, It's not the law that marks us as Christ's. It's love. And I would guess that there are times that we feel profane. And I want you to know that in God's eyes, you are clean. 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 So whatever feeling of shame or regret or turmoil makes you feel profane, I hope that if only for a moment in this space, you might turn it over to God and know that you are clean, that you are loved by God, that you are marked as God's own. And when you have doubts, I hope that you will return to the Scriptures, to the sacraments, to this community, that each of these things might work together to remind you that you are clean. Profane for a moment that passes clean in Jesus' eyes. Clean by God's care. That you are loved and that it is a love that is everlasting.